Hi, it's Sandy Parker. Welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. I've had a lot of people ask me about the Vagabond. I just got it a couple months ago. It's not like I've used it a ton, but I did really want to do a video on it because the Vagabond 2 is coming out, and I wanted to talk about some of the things that I think are going to be improved and some of the things that I think that you should consider the Vagabond for. The Vagabond is a die cutting and embossing machine. It's electric, and that in itself is the entire reason that I own it. I did start out with a Cuttlebug. I did not have success with it. I will tell you that I have not done much embossing. I have not done much die cutting because I maybe used that Cuttlebug 3 or 4 times because I just I couldn't turn that crank. And so I really wanted to wait for Vagabond 2 to come out, but it just kept delaying and delaying, and so I bought Vagabond 1. This was $150, but I had to buy additional pieces, so I'll go over that with you. And this is also something that's, I think, being changed in the next one. In Vagabond 2, well, okay, first of all, I had to buy this solo wafer thin adapter so that I could use Spellbinders dies on it. Of course, you're going to want to use the really thin dies, so you absolutely need that. Then, if you wanted to do texture and use dies that also had some texture, you had to buy this little silicone rubber mat. And so that was extra, and then I had to buy an impressions pad, and the impressions pad is for adding texture and blah blah blah. Anyway, I bought those 3 things extra because I thought I needed them. Again, I haven't used all of them because I haven't found the occasion, but I think today I am going to be using all of them. And they were, I don't know, maybe $15 more. I'm not really sure. But so then that brings your cost to around $165, $170 for Vagabond 1. I don't know what Vagabond 2 is going to come out at. I know some Vagabond 1s are still available, and I think some people have them on clearance. So if buying those extra things doesn't bother you, and if the other problems I tell you about don't bother you, then maybe you want Vagabond 1. I don't know. Let's talk about the piece, though. First of all, let me tell you, this is not a lightweight piece. It weighs over 16 pounds, so it's very sturdy. It also means you're not going to be taking it anywhere with you because unless you can tote 16 pounds, it's heavy. So that's, I think, in a way, for me, it's a great thing because I'm not going to move it around, and I want something sturdy. Hopefully you can see that. See that little pouch right there? That's where your cord goes when you're not using it. To open it, it looks like a suitcase. I didn't turn it sideways so you could see that. It also comes with some stickers that you can put on it that are travel stickers. I didn't put those on it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. It comes with this little key fob. I'm probably going to take it off because it gets in my way. To open it, you push this little lever that way. And then the gates come down. The floodgates open. This button is the direction that the dies will go. It goes either way, which is nice because let's say you put something in and you want to run another thing, you can put it back through the other way. So it just has arrows. If it's pointing this way, if you pushed it this way, then the device will go that way. If you click it this way, then the device goes this way, obviously. Then this is the button that makes it move. That's all you do. Here are the things that they've changed that I know of for Vagabond 2. Firstly, I think they are making it so that you don't have to buy those accessories. I'm not certain of that. The gears inside, I hear, are all going to be metal. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I've heard. The one thing that they did do that I think is nice, I don't know if I would be aggressive enough to have this problem, but let's say that you put in something that's really, really thick. First of all, they give you these keys. Hopefully you can see those keys. The keys are a gauge of how thick you can put things in. So once you build your sandwich, you just put your key along your sandwich and make sure it's not thicker than that. If it's too thick, you don't put it in. But let's say that you're just crazy wanting to get it done, and you put something in, you think, oh, maybe this will go, maybe it won't. Regardless, I'm not worried. And it gets into the machine and it jams. With Vagabond 1, if you get it stuck, and I mean stuck in there, it's the end of your life as you know it with your Vagabond, because according to Tim Holtz, if you get something so stuck that you can't get it back out, that's it, it's done. With Vagabond 2, my understanding is that they've created a failsafe that if something gets in there, it can back out. So, I mean, that in itself is a great thing if you are aggressive with your, I don't know, if you really want to get that thing put through there and you just won't take no for an answer. Tim Holtz said he's used his Vagabond since it's been out, and he's never had to replace his. So I guess by him saying that, that's why I didn't care about the metal gears, because I figure if Tim Holtz hasn't broken his in all these years, the odds of me breaking mine is pretty minimal, because how many times am I going to use it compared to him, right? That's my thinking. So let's start with what this does. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Sizzix, the Tim Holtz, the original dies. You know them, you love them. It's one of these. It looks like this. This is the one with the tattered flowers. A lot of us have it. In order to put this through, all you do is build a sandwich with the 2 plastic plates. You just put them in like you would normally. Line them up. Make sure everything is toward the front. I'm going to make sure I have that. And facing, your arrow facing that way, and then you push it through. There you have it. This is 65-pound cardstock, but you can see I probably could have put 2 or 3 pieces of paper on there. Had no problem at all cutting it. It does a really great job with those dies. Of course, you know, that was the whole intent of this machine. So it's, you know, I'm not downplaying it, but I am saying that that is why they build it. So it should work really good with that. Let's talk about embossing folders. Now, embossing folders, well, first of all, let me explain the plate, the sandwich plate. This sandwich plate comes with, I'm hoping you can see this really well. Here's how this works. It has these shims on it, that's what they call them. And each shim has specific purposes, and they're listed on the shim that it goes with. So if you are running, let's say, for instance, if you are running an embossing folder through where you're going to fold the paper around it, and I'll show you that. We'll do that one first. You're going to be folding your paper around it. It's just the common place. You've got your card. You want to put it inside your embossing folder. You've lined it up. You're happy with it. You're going to put the paper in and see, it shows you. You want this plate plus the 2 plastic plates with your embossing folder in the inside, and I think what he said was he thinks you should lead with the folded side of your embossing folder, so I'm going to do that. I might be making that up, but that's what I'm pretty sure I read. And then you're going to put it back into your slot. I don't have a lot of room to work with here because of where I have this set up. Okay. It's pointing that way. We push the button. Now I'm going to tell you something that you couldn't see right there, but the one concern that I have with this, and I pulled the book out so I could show you this. Right here, pinch hazard. There's a really, when you're cranking through on a Cuttlebug or a Big Shot, you're cranking it through at your own pace. When this goes through, it's going at its pace, and the back of it snaps down pretty quickly. If your fingers are back there, there's a really good chance you're going to pinch yourself. So my suggestion is I would not let kids play with this because of that. Here is the I used a polka dotted. I'll tell you the different products I used too. This is from Lifestyle Crafts. It's a polka dotted embossing folder, and goes like that, you can see that it's done a good job. I will tell you that it is a very, when it puts things through, it's really aggressive as far as punching on paper. A lot of times I think you're going to end up having creases in your embossed papers if you use lightweight cardstock. So sometimes when you're doing a single layer of paper, you might want to put a second layer in so you don't get a crease. I was getting on one that was like a flower down here, I was getting a big crease up here, and I think Linda, well, one of my friends that knows a lot about crafting said, Sandy, here's the deal. You use too light a weight of paper, and that's why it creased. So, not the Linda that sells Stampin' Up. Apparently, I'm really good at finding friends for YouTube that are named Linda. Anyway, so Linda told me that's what I was doing wrong. So I appreciated her help on that, and she gave me the way to fix it. So, let's talk about, let's talk about if you are going to do a single layer embossed, and it shows you in here. If you're going to do, let's see, where is that on the paper? It shows it, oh, right here. If you're only using a single piece of paper inside an embossing folder, you have to use this thing they call a shim. It's a big plastic piece of paper. I don't love this, and I'll tell you why. Because it snaps down into these little clips, and it comes out of those a lot when I'm doing other things. So I might be running something through, and then all of a sudden those things come out, and I don't know why. But that's my concern about it. I am going to do 2 pieces of cardstock in this folder because I wanted to show you how it would work with 2 pieces. This is a Darice, and it is Hexagons. Oh, and the 30 on it is from my organizational system for embossing folders. And if that's a video you guys would like to see, is how I organize and keep track of my crafting supplies, I would be more than happy to do a video on that, because I do have a pretty good organizational system to show what I have, except stamps. And I'm not even going to go into the dilemma of why I can't figure out how to do stamps. Okay. Oh, I wish you could see this. Can you see where my fingers are right there? My fingers are between the 2 pieces of plastic. This is what I'm talking about. When you start that up, that can snap down and really get your fingers in there. So I just want you to think about that when you use it. Like I said, I wouldn't let kids use it because of that. Okay, so we're going to run this through. Whoops, don't have my thing in Florida. I have not had any problems with using it or, learning how to do things. It's very self-explanatory. Okay, this is 2 pieces of 65-pound cardstock, and look how well both of those are embossed. Can you see that? I mean, this thing is very heavy duty. If I would use 1 piece, I guarantee that this would have had some kind of crease in it. So I'm just saying, it's not like when you hand crank it through. It's a very sturdy piece of machinery. Okay. Let's go on to, I'm only doing this because I just want you to see this is the coolest thing ever. This is the next generation of embossing folders from We Are Memory Keepers, and I bought it. You get a set of 2, and this is called Woven, and this is a very, very thick piece of paper in it, and I wanted you to see this because it is the coolest thing, and I'm just showing it to you because I thought it was the coolest thing. I'm going to take the 1 shim off because it is so thick. I don't want to screw it up. It's just so thick with the, whoops. Okay, I think everything, oh geez. Sometimes I can't figure out where I am with this thing. Okay, putting the arrow pointing that way. Let's see if I can, I'm going to have to back it up. I can't, with this embossing folder is much thicker than the other ones. That's why I pulled that shim out. And when I did it yesterday, and I mean it goes through, but it's a tight fit. I just want to make sure I don't screw it up. Okay. It's at the solo platform. I can't have any less in it. Maybe I need to flip this over because it's warping. Could be. Well, I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to get my key and see if it's too thick for my key. I don't think it is, because when I did it yesterday, it went through just fine. But then I played with it a lot, so it's warped a little bit. Okay. Get that key up there. Jeez, get that key up there. Who would have thought the key? No, it's not too thick for it. Okay. Now you're going through this time. I'm talking to it sternly. We're having a stern discussion here. Well, it's going now. Okay. Apparently you didn't want to play that game before, and it's probably only going to emboss half of it because the top embossing folder, I'm going to go the other way now and see if it'll go the other way so I can get the whole thing embossed. Oh, well, let's see if it embossed the whole thing or not. Regardless of whether it did or not, you'll get to see how cool this embossing folder is, and that was the whole point of this. Yeah, you can see most of it. Okay, it is the coolest thing. Look how thick that embossed. It looks like a woven basket. It's the coolest thing. I'm just showing you that because I just thought it was so neat. And those are called We Are Memory Keepers, and it's the next generation of embossing folder. So I wanted you to see that. Okay, so let's say you're going to do a thin die, and whoops, which one did I decide? I was going to do this one right here. And I'm going to be using, these are Spellbinders, Nestabilities, and I don't know where the name is on these. Well, we'll just call it's Marvelous Squares, sorry. And I'm using parts, like 3 different dies on there, and it's glittery paper, so it makes it a little bit more complex. So when you're doing the very thin dies, you have to have both shims on, which is this plastic thing as I explained. And then you're going to, oh, and then, darn it, I'm trying so hard. Then you need to have your solo thin, that solo thin adapter. So I need that, and then, and it even shows you on the solo thin die adapter that you have to have this, that extra shim, which is this green that they show. Then, the two shims. Then you have to have, I don't know why it's blue on here because none of them are blue, they're brown. I'm just confused by their color coding. Then you put this piece on, then you put your 2 sandwiches. I'm putting that in there. Get that going. See which way I want to put these. Putting my dies in. Like I said, I don't do very much in the way of pushing it that way, of cutting or die cutting. I don't do much of this at all because of the problems I had with my Cuttlebug. Okay, this isn't one of those dies that I think I was supposed to run through with this little rubbery deal. Pretty sure, because it has, maybe not, maybe I'm just making that up. Yeah, I think I'm just making it up. Anyway, when I used the Cuttlebug and could not get it to do anything I wanted it to, I really felt like there was no point. So that's why I've not really done much in the line of this, and why this is all pretty new to me. As I said, maybe use the Cuttlebug 4 times. I gotta sell that thing. Gotta get rid of it. It's bugging me. Alright, well, I'm just going to show you that it did punch everything out, no problem. I don't want to have to go through the process of, cleaning all that up for you. You saw it, it worked. And then I also used from Spellbinder Shapeabilities, this is Fancy Tags. I did this tag, and it came out just fine. And at the same time, from Dienamics, these are the vintage buttons, and I think these would have done a lot better if I'd used that plate in it, because they should have embossed too, but they didn't really emboss because I should have used that rubber mat in there. But I'm still working on learning that part of it. So that, in a nutshell, is the Vagabond 1. I don't know, as far as the changes to Vagabond 1, other than what I've told you I've heard. I watched Tim Holtz do a talk about it on YouTube, so if you are in the market, I think you should go to YouTube and check that out, where he talks about it, because I think it is something that would really benefit you to know all about it if you're going to buy it. Again, my only big concern is the pinching hazard, and making sure you keep your fingers out of the way. It wouldn't stop me from buying it. It would just stop me from letting any little kids use it, and also it makes me think every time I use it, and that's a good thing. So that is the Vagabond. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be glad to answer them. And I hope this helped. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe, and I hope I'll see you on my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.